As Donald Trump prepares to reclaim the presidency of the United States, the political landscape is once again shifting dramatically. His administration is poised to embark on an ambitious agenda that diverges sharply from the policies of his predecessor. This shift raises significant concerns, particularly for Canada, which has long considered the U.S. its closest ally and partner. A new agenda in a divided America. Trump's return to the White House is not merely a continuation of his previous administration. It represents a fundamental reorientation of U.S. policy across various domains. His leadership style and policy priorities indicate an inclination to pursue a more isolationist and protectionist approach. This is particularly evident in his reported intent to distance the U.S. from its traditional allies, including Canada. One of the most pressing issues on the horizon is the potential for significant economic repercussions. Trump's administration has signaled intentions to impose a blanket 25% tariff on Canadian goods, a move that would have far-reaching consequences for both countries. As trade relations are integral to the economies of both Canada and the U.S., this threat has caused considerable anxiety among Canadian officials and business leaders alike. Canada's vigilant response. Canadians are keenly aware of the implications of Trump's presidency, particularly regarding economic stability and international relations. In anticipation of the inauguration, Canadian officials are closely monitoring any announcements or executive orders that may emerge from the new administration. Kirsten Hillman, Canada's ambassador to the U.S., expressed this sentiment succinctly when she stated, "I think we want to see what the president decides to do." This cautious approach underscores the uncertainty surrounding Trump's plans and their potential impact on Canada. Hillman's assertion that Canada will be ready for whatever comes our way illustrates a resolve to adapt to the changing political climate. Canadian policymakers are likely preparing contingency plans to mitigate any negative outcomes stemming from Trump's policies. Given the intertwined nature of the Canadian and American economies, swift action may be necessary to protect Canadian interests. The atmosphere surrounding Inauguration Day. As the countdown to Inauguration Day begins, Washington, D.C. has become a focal point for Trump supporters, with rallies and events taking place across the city. The sight of bright red hats and toques emblazoned with Trump is a reminder of the fervent support he still commands among his base. This atmosphere is a stark contrast to the concerns voiced by many Canadians about the implications of his presidency. The rallies not only serve as a demonstration of support for Trump, but also highlight the deep divisions within American society. His return to office signifies a continuation of polarizing politics that have characterized recent years. For Canadians, this divide raises questions about how U.S. domestic policies will influence international relations, particularly with Canada. The uncertainty of executive orders. Reports suggest that Trump's team has prepared over 100 executive orders for his first days back in office. However, the specifics of these orders remain largely unknown. The ambiguity surrounding these potential actions adds to the anxiety felt by Canadian officials who are trying to gauge the direction of U.S. policy under Trump's leadership. Executive orders can have immediate and far-reaching effects on various aspects of governance, including trade, immigration, and environmental regulations. Canadian businesses and government leaders are left to speculate about which orders might impact their interests directly. The unpredictability of Trump's decision-making, coupled with the urgency of his agenda, creates a challenging environment for Canada as it seeks to navigate its relationship with the U.S. The importance of U.S.-Canada relations. The relationship between the U.S. and Canada is one of the most significant bilateral partnerships in the world, characterized by extensive trade, shared values, and cultural ties. This partnership has historically thrived on mutual cooperation and understanding. However, the prospect of a more antagonistic U.S. approach under Trump raises concerns about the future of this relationship. Trade is a particularly sensitive issue. Canada exports a substantial volume of goods to the U.S., and any tariffs imposed could disrupt this flow, leading to increased costs for consumers and businesses in both countries. The potential for a trade war looms large, and Canadian leaders are likely considering various strategies to engage with their American counterparts to mitigate these risks. Preparing for the unexpected. In light of the uncertainties surrounding Trump's administration, Canada is likely to prioritize diplomatic engagement while simultaneously preparing for potential economic challenges. This dual approach could involve strengthening ties with other international partners to diversify trade relationships and reduce dependence on the U.S. market. Additionally, Canadian leaders may seek to leverage their existing relationships in Washington to advocate for policies that benefit both countries. Engaging with bipartisan coalitions, business groups, and other stakeholders could be crucial in advancing Canada's interests during this tumultuous period. The broader context of Trump's return. Trump's presidency is not occurring in a vacuum. It is part of a broader trend of nationalism and populism that has emerged in various countries around the world. This trend has significant implications for international relations and global cooperation. As countries grapple with the challenges posed by isolationist policies, Canada's commitment to multilateralism and cooperation will be tested. The potential for a more confrontational U.S. stance on issues such as climate change, trade, and security further complicates the landscape for Canada. As a nation that has traditionally championed global cooperation, Canada must navigate these challenges while staying true to its values. Conclusion: the path ahead. Donald Trump's return to the presidency marks a pivotal moment in U.S.-Canada relations and international politics as a whole. With his administration poised to implement a sweeping agenda, Canadians are left to consider the ramifications of his policies on their economy and society. As the inauguration approaches, the uncertainty surrounding Trump's executive actions and overall approach to governance creates a climate of anxiety and anticipation. Canada's leaders are tasked with the complex challenge of safeguarding their nation's interests while fostering a constructive relationship with the potentially unpredictable U.S. administration. In the coming months, Canada will need to remain vigilant, adaptable, and proactive in addressing the challenges that arise from Trump's presidency. The resilience of U.S.-Canada relations will depend on the ability of both nations to navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing political landscape while prioritizing mutual interests and long-term cooperation.